Among whom also we all had our conversation. That's not talkative. It's talking about lifestyle. Among whom also we all had our conversation in times past. Paul said, listen, every one of us has fallen into the same plight. That's why you can't judge nobody. Now, just because it's not a sin that you were comfortable saying when you did sin, don't act like you don't understand what it means to sin a sin that you like sinning. Because I drink and you club, I can't judge you for clubbing and you can't judge me for drinking. It used to blow my mind. I would get in arguments with people that would try to call out what I was doing, and the whole time I'm like, well, that's funny that you got a problem with what I'm doing and you should is wrong, but there is something in your closet too. And Paul said, listen, don't you go to get funny on people. Don't you get to acting brand new like you don't understand, because we all in times past. Ain't nothing gonna shut down a sanctified, volunteer, nosy busybody. Then somebody said, let me bring up your past. Paul settled the issue right here by saying, before you judge anybody else, all I need you to do is remember yourself in your past. Mercy and compassion are the birth children of remembering your own past. If you just remember where you came from, you ain't got nothing but mercy for the next person. I know what it's like. I have been there, and although our walks may have not have been the same, it was the same issue, disobedience. And he said, in times past, we had our conversation, and here's the way he said it was. In the lusts of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind. That's the description. Amen. That's what we were doing. We were fulfilling the lust of the flesh. That's not just this carnage, bone, flesh, tendons. Yes, it's talking about this because this is what you do with it. How many of you ever sinned without your body? It's crazy. Every sin you commit is with your body. Yeah. You have to have a body to do these things. That's why the devil likes barring humans, because he is a disembodied, he's a bodiless spirit, and he can't act out rebellion because he doesn't have a body. So he keeps barring the volunteer bodies of human beings. This is why demons possess people to act out their rebellion against God, because outside of a body, they couldn't do any works. So they kept barring volunteers. And he said that we were operating, fulfilling the desires of the flesh. Another word for flesh, another way to define flesh, simple, sin appetite. That's sin appetite. Your spirit is your God appetite, but your flesh is your sin appetite. How many of you know that you can't do anything to stop yourself from getting hungry? You can't do anything to stop yourself from getting hungry. Now you can control how you act on, and rightfully we should. There's some times you just got to control your appetite, but you can't cancel it. You can't make yourself not ever want to eat again. Amen. I don't care how much you are bothered by your body and wanted to take off a couple pounds. You can't say, for the rest of my life, I'm not going to eat. Because when it's an appetite, that thing will exist as long as you are alive. And so there is a sin appetite in you. It's called the flesh. And I don't care how many tongues you talk, how many verses you read, how many songs you sing, you will never stop this part of you from craving to do wrong. You're not. But we get surprised when we get good and saved, and your flesh still acts up the same way. Your spirit got saved, not your flesh. The day that you confess Jesus as Lord, that was an inside job. That was something that happened in your soul. Your flesh did not get saved. And this is where Pentecostal extreme holiness churches have messed up a whole generation, because they're trying to say crazy stuff like sanctify the flesh. The flesh is the enemy of God. It will never be sanctified, and the only way it will ever submit totally to God is the day you come out of this body and get a glorified body. And Paul understood that, and he kept saying, I ain't gonna get delivered from this thing I'm wrestling with until the day I am absent from the body and present with the Lord. Amen. Stop being surprised that you smell reefer and want to smoke it. Sitting there acting like you don't smell it. Come on now. I don't know which side, because we got 3 sections now, but one of these sections, it can't be that one because ain't nobody there. But in one of these sections, somebody knows. Testing ourselves. walking around. You know how about have you ever been hearing some good music and it won't Shirley Caesar? Ain't nothing wrong with those Shirley. Shirley, my friend, we just don't know it. But have you ever been somewhere and you hear secular music and you say to yourself, I'm saved, but your body wanna, and you know what I'm talking, and we feel convicted, don't we? Like, Lord, I done did something wrong. Because your body heard bass. Black folk, we move the bass. Other races move the trumpet. They respond to one. We respond to two. And when we hear them, what do? Ooh. And then some of us get convicted, oh my God, and people will get caught up in this stuff and will come to the altar wanting prayer because your sin appetite craves sin still. Was that a surprise to you after you got through crying out the salvation experience, after you got up, walked away from the altar? Didn't it shock you that the stuff you liked on Thursday when you were not saved, after the Friday night salvation experience, Saturday morning you still liked it? That thing will scare you, because the old evangelist, he can preach that because he's about to go to heaven. The man, 99 years old. Of course, to him, holiness is right. I'm 14. I got a lot of years ahead of me. I ain't ready to die yet. So people on the way to heaven, it's easy for them to preach holiness because you done did so much of your mess. Of course you ready to die and go to heaven. You've been locked up 15 times. You got 20 children by 5 different women. Of course you ready to go to heaven. And the earth is ready for you to go. You did too much. Well, you're part of the singles ministry, but going to children's ministry. I don't understand that. So you found out that as long as you live in this body, this thing is going to crave flesh. And when that happens, you have to understand that the ultimate deliverance is walking in the Spirit. Amen. It's going to surprise you. And I don't care how many titles you get. In fact, the higher you go, the worse it gets. Yes, Lord. Be ye warned. I almost would, for the sake of the sanity of your mind, say, stay low. Because when you go high, I promise you, it's wonderful and glorious, but the fight that comes to you up here. I deal with stuff that when I was just saved, just trying to go to heaven, I didn't have to deal with. Now when I'm trying to help other people go to heaven, now there's a whole nother level. And the flesh is constantly having an appetite. Constantly. And there's no surprise. But we get shocked. And we will judge our Christian growth, not by how we're moving in the Spirit, but by whether or not the flesh. Do I still want to do this? And there are people backsliding for no apparent reason, other than they're surprised that their